to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Hello everyone, this is Kira Show here. Now, I actually have looked on YouTube to see if you guys have been enjoying the what ifs, and to my surprise, part 1 to my ball manipulation, part 1 to the collab me and Katsumi are doing, and part 1 to Daredevil are all actually over 100 views. And what I mean by over 100, ball manipulations are already over 160 views. And I find that crazy, but YouTube is not updating them on my end, telling me how many people have actually been watching them. So I've had to click on the videos and actually pause them so that I don't get counted as a view to watch, or see how many people have actually watched the video. And I actually like that a lot of people are actually watching my channel and actually enjoying some of the content I produce. And I actually have never really thought of myself as ever doing YouTube. I saw myself making like different videos, but never what if ideas for a anime. Anyway, the reason why this is being posted so late in the day is because remember last night whenever I said I had NyQuil? Yeah, I took a bit more NyQuil because I didn't feel like it was working, and I slept for probably half a day. I feel a bit better, but I still feel like crap. Anyways, when we last left off, Deku had saved Uraka, and let's cut to them all hanging out in the dojo, like the training room Deku has, and everyone's gotten their mail and come over, and they're all hanging out, so they want to see actually where they all placed. So Deku would have been told that they would have all opened theirs at the same time. Not same time. They would have all opened theirs. Deku would have opened his first, and All Might would have said that you actually got the most points. You even got hero points for helping to save that one girl. And actually, no, it's not All Might's this time. It's his mom. She says that she's really proud of him. He actually got a lot of points, but he also got hero points. Now, you need to learn some restraint there. Some restraint, because you kind of overdid it with hakai, and then she would cut to a photo of exactly the destruction behind Deku's blast. She would then state that they can train on that more, but that's gonna take some time. Now, Todoroki and everyone else would open theirs and get the same thing, kinda. Except they would just be told that they got in the UA and they're in the hero course. Now then, after that, let's cut to during the week that Deku had before UA. His mom would have actually taught him a new technique. She would have stated that there is a way for him to get a bit stronger right now, and it's essentially she's gonna throw her hakai at him, and he has to try and absorb it. Now, that sounds a bit crazy, yes, but essentially these are two different. Their energies are the same, but they're also different. And what I mean by that is they both have. Deku's is more diluted than Inko's is, because she's actually had more time to train hers and actually get it more towards being actually destruction energy. It's purer than Deku's. It's less watered down because it's been trained and actually this is the technique that the ancestor would have said. Well, the ancestor would have said that their not technique, ancestor said. One of their descendants along the way would have figured out that if you expose yourself to basically if you were to train and expose yourself to your parents' power, since it's more pure, your body can actually absorb it better. Well, you can get stronger by trying to absorb it, but if your body rejects it, you will essentially go through hell trying to power through it. And what I mean by that is if you guys have ever seen Spirit Detective or Yu Yu Hakusho, there's the actual name, it just popped up in my head. When I'm under stress, things will pop into my head, and that's how I feel in stories. I barely have any scripts for these things. So yeah. If you guys have ever seen Yu Yu Hakusho where they're in the cave with Genkai, I think her name is. So it starts with a G, but she essentially passes on her power to him, and he's trying to absorb it, but he's going through all this intense pain. That is going to be happening to Deku for an entire week. Now, let's cut to... Actually, no. Let's say that directly after they opened their whole invitations, Inko would have pulled Deku out of the room and actually explained that this is what they're going to be doing. And she thinks that he's ready because of all the training he's been doing. So they would go out in the middle of the forest and actually do this. And whenever this does happen, Deku is screaming his lungs out. He's screaming so loud and he's throwing up so much aura that he can barely control it. And he's just throwing it straight into the sky. He's trying to make sure he focuses it up. So, because of if he were to focus it straight in front of him, he doesn't know how far it would go and he might hit a city. So he's just trying to make sure it goes up. And as soon as this whole process started, as soon as she exposed him to a giant ball, like the size... Whenever Frieza exposed... All, I was going to say when Frieza exposed All Might. When Frieza exposed Deku to it, and he was exposed to it, and he powered through it, and actually, like, shrunk it down. That's what he's supposed to do. So Deku's going through this whole process an entire week, and Inko would try and stop Deku on his third day of this, because he's just been screaming his lungs out for 3 days straight. He would have told her no, that he's gonna do this, and she cannot stop him. So she would begrudgingly let this continue, and she just cannot watch. This is agonizing. Now she knows what her mom... Well, she knows what her grandpa felt, and what his grandmother felt. So she would state that, I guess, arrogance just runs in the family. Now then. Afterward, let's say Deku, the night before UA, he would actually finally, just finally, absorb it completely. Because he's been training harder than Inko has. And it took her probably 2 weeks to absorb it. But she did that at the end of the school year. At the end of her 3rd year in UA. And Deku's just been constantly training. So because of that, he would absorb it and actually gain a power-up. What I mean by that is his destruction energy, he can now concentrate it to the point where he can make a marble-sized one on the end of his finger, and if you were to throw it at anything, it would actually destroy stuff. As in, erase it from existence. But he can only do that to certain small objects. He tried it on a tree before, and he only obliterated half the tree. Well, he only destroyed half the tree. So afterward, he would go to sleep and actually wake up and go to UA. Toga, Todoroki. Wow, I just realized how similar their names were. Ochako and Deku would all go to UA, and they would say that they haven't seen him for a while. What's been going on? He would just say that he has been. Him and his mom. She took the week off from doing hero work to help to teach him something new. They'd ask him what it was, and he would just say that it kind of involved her quirk. They'd be very interested by this because no one really knows a lot about her Inko's quirk. They just know that she can use it to make herself more durable, faster, use it to fly, fire these beams out, and essentially heal anything. So she's seen as near to God level with her power. Because she's had a child, been injured and in a coma for 2 years, and after that she's got back to whooping ass and becoming the number one hero again. So yeah, she's pretty powerful in her own right. And let's see. Aizawa would, oh, actually not that. Bakugo would be mad saying that, oh, well, not Bakugo, he wouldn't know that yet. Let's say that Aizawa would, well, not Aizawa, Ida would walk up saying that he is very sorry for the way he has acted during that whole thing and that was not a proper way to conduct himself. Now then. Ah, crap, I'm going to have to figure out the rankings. Hang on, I'm going to... Okay. No, stop. Okay. It's been 20 minutes to 30 minutes since I have tried recording this. I have had a lot of issues, and I am trying to figure them all out. But I have figured out the roster and everything for Class 1A, and I figured out the characters I am replacing with Toga and the Wind Guy. Along with the... I just had her name. The Big Hands Girl. Oh, come on. I hate this. I hate this. I've been trying to record this for probably almost an hour. So it's been a solid 30 minutes between this last cut and me trying to do this whole script. Not script. I don't script these. This whole thing. Anyway. Cut to Class 1A. Aizawa's saying that they're going to be doing this whole exam. And whoever comes in last place is going to be kicked out. Now then. This is the whole seating chart for 1A, and this is the quirk apprehension test. Now, instead of Torigori and Moneta being in this, I'm actually moving Zero out, kicking Zero, Hakakura, and Moneta out, and I am replacing them with the Wind Guy, Toga, and the Big Hands Girl. Crap. Kendo. There we go. I knew her name. Just figured it out and remembered it. Anyway. Cut to them all changing in the room, the gym. Deku and Todoroki, they're the two strongest physically and with their quirks. Everyone's looking at them and they're seeing all these scars and stuff on Deku. Todoroki would look at Deku and ask him, what the hell happened over that whole week? These are all new, aren't they? Deku would state that during that whole week, his mom and him were training. He he didn't sleep at all during the whole time. He was awake for 6 days straight training with his mom. Everyone would have heard this and thought that that's not possible, is it? Deku would state, yes, it is very possible, and what she put him through is otherworldly. He's gotten actually a lot stronger. Now, they would all get out there. Everyone's out there. All the girls and stuff are looking at Deku, and he's very muscular and actually very ripped in this series. So he's actually tall also. So he's actually around Ida's height, somewhat taller than Bakugo, and I saw the whole everyone's height thing, so he's taller than Bakugo. Bakugo is one of the tallest in class, at 172 to 73 centimeters tall. So now let's cut to this. Aizawa would toss Deku the ball, saying, "You got first place, so let's see where you stand." Deku would begin to get in a pose and actually throw the ball. Aizawa would say that, "No, I told you just to throw the ball regularly, not with your quirk." Because he would have threw it over, let's say, 2,000 meters. Deku would state that he did throw it regularly. Aizawa wouldn't believe him and get him to try it again, but he would turn off Deku's quirk, and Deku would throw the ball. This time he actually got higher, at 2,500 meters. Aizawa would be really confused by this, stating that if that's your natural power, then you're gonna be crazy whenever you use your quirk. So Aizawa would then hand Deku another ball, and tell him to use his quirk now. Deku would ask Aizawa if he's sure, and Aizawa would say, "Just do it already, don't hold back." Aizawa would say, "Okay," and as Deku cocks his hand back, there's a small shockwave everyone feels. It's a gust of wind, and then Deku launches the ball out of his hand, creating a shockwave so powerful, all the windows in UA literally shatter, and everyone gets knocked back by 50 feet, while Deku's just standing there. And as I would look down at his phone, and he would see infinite for 5 seconds, and then just error, cannot be detected. Well, error, have lost connection. He would ask Deku what was that, and he said he went full power, but even that's brand new to him. So he would then begin to do the whole test with the running and the strength test. Whenever Deku does do the running, Ida would state that you're stronger than him, but you cannot be faster. And as I would say go, Deku would immediately he would look like he teleported, but it was literally less than a second. He would have created another shockwaves, going straight past Ida. And whenever Deku does run past this, whenever he does stop, the shockwave he created behind him would go barreling forward and knock over a tree. And the robot would just state that that 0.00000001 seconds. Ida would be really dumbfounded, and then they would carry on with other tasks. They would do these side to side, and everyone's going as fast as they can, doing all that. And Deku, as soon as they're done, he would have scored over 50 or 500, over 50 million consecutive side to side lunges. And the literal area where he was around is so hot and almost turned into a crater that You can probably roast a marshmallow on it or cook a steak on it. That's how hot it is. Now, as I was looking at all this, and he's thinking that Deku might be crazy because his mom was near this level, but he didn't think anyone can be stronger than her or faster than her. Now then, oh thank God the recording is still doing that. Everyone would do all that, and Todoroki would see that Deku actually is gotten a lot stronger. And Todoroki would come second in almost everything. Except for the ball throw, he would have come third because of how Araka and him would have tied for infinity. But he clearly got better because she didn't get an error on hers. Toga, she would place probably... She would place where... She'd place 15th in the... Everyone... Ayama would place 20th. Everyone below this whole area, since they are replacing them, Ayala would score 20th. Jiro would score higher. Stuff like that. Actually, no, Jiro would probably score last. But Aizawa would have stated that he was kidding because he knows what his Deku's mother can do, and he's actually nearby her level. But it seems like he's actually stronger than her whenever she entered UA. People would then say that he's stronger than her at that age. Then I wonder what he's going to be like as a hero. Now, Deku would have gotten infinite or near to infinite on a lot of stuff. He got it on the grip test, the side to sides, the long jump. Yeah, things are just crazy. Now then, Toga would have samples of Deku's blood, but these are before he got powered up and amped up. So after this, Deku would have... Let's cut to the heroes versus villains exam. After this, let's see. It's gonna be Toga and Todoroki. Their names are very similar now, I just realized that. It's gonna be them versus Ochako and Deku. Now, as Todoroki and Ochako are... Well, Todoroki and Deku are kind of... As Todoroki is freaking out, Deku's kind of freaking out also. Because everyone's realizing that Todoroki and Deku are both freaking out. So they're all really confused by this because Deku is the strongest. But whenever Deku and Ochako would be the heroes. I know. First time I'm putting these two, I'm actually realigning something with the anime. But that won't last for long. Now then. God. Toga would pull out a small vial and drink it, and then shapeshift into Deku. Everyone's wondering why she did this. Because she's only got 2 to 3 of those vials. So she would have taken all 3 of them out and drank them. And she would have disappeared from sight. Now then, she would have met up with Deku. She would actually be in front of him, but as soon as she would have gotten in front of him, she would have tried throwing a left hook, and Deku would have immediately just dodged. Like, he would have moved the right side of his body behind the left side of his body, dodging it, and actually grab her by the hand and throw her through the building. Now, they would have begun fighting, and this is just shaking the entire area around them. And Todoroki, he wouldn't try and freeze the area. He would actually try and fight Ochako with... He would try and outdo Ochako by keeping her far away, trying to freeze the area around her, but also trying to light certain areas on fire, because he actually does use his fire side. Now then, while that's going on, Toga and Deku are actually fighting, and people are noticing that there's a red aura coming off of both of them. Like, the tips of his aura look like they're on fire, because they look red. Now then, as soon as they would get in a clash and get far away from each other, Deku would then hold out his hands and actually blast fire at her. And everyone's looking at this and they're confused because they thought his quirk was his mom's quirk. Inko is actually in the room instead of All Might. She would state that yes, her quirk. She does have her quirk, but he also has his father's quirk. They would ask what his father's quirk was, and he said it's fire breath. But he's able to use it with his other quirk, like it's hakai energy. People would be confused by this. She would then hold up a small can, and she would actually make the tip of her finger glow. As soon as she would touch it, the can with the tip of her finger, the can would immediately just disappear. But small particles would come up. Well, everyone's kind of confused by this, and she would state that Toga did take samples of his blood, but she cannot use the ability to the point where Deku can. This is essentially like her training her own durability with Deku's. Now, they are fighting, they are doing all that, and everyone's watching as Deku is essentially tearing apart the entire city, along with Toga just fighting. Deku would state that it's a good thing I gave you those, but right now this is kind of bad. Toga would be out of breath, actually bleeding. She'd be somewhat like this picture of Deku is, but with the aura around her. It's less purple than Deku's, because hers is a light purple, Deku's is darker purple. She would state that why. He would say that he actually did get stronger over the last week by a lot. That his durability has increased so much that he doesn't feel like the old him anymore. He would then power up his aura and hold out a hand and blast her with as much fire as he can. Now, everyone's looking at this and his mom's screaming at him that might have hurt Toga. Deku would then reiterate that during their training, he's seen what she can do with his power and his blood. She'll be fine. And it would cut to that Toga, she's stuck there in her hero costume on the ground, just passed out. Now, after that, Toga is passed out and Todoroki is trying to he's trying to avoid all contact with Deku as he can by setting everything on fire and freezing everything. Deku's hero costume is essentially like this right now, torn up, and he's actually at this level of bleeding. But his hero costume is essentially like this, but it's purple and actually he has a ponytail, along with a lot more scars on his body. Now, as soon as that would happen, Todoroki would see him and he would then blast fire at Deku. Deku would retaliate by blasting fire out of his mouth back at Todoroki. After that, they would have a clash where Todoroki is essentially tearing apart the building and Deku is actually trying to keep it together by just holding off his blast. Now, they're doing this and all of a sudden, all you would hear is, "Hero team wins!" in Nana's voice. Nana. No, that's not right. She's dead. Ooh, sour. Hurtful. I meant Inko's. Anyways, after that, they would all be taken to medical. And yeah. they'd be taken to medical, and Deku would have been patched up. Todoroki would have been patched up because he actually did got pretty injured. And afterward, Toga, she would have been patched up, but her body is essentially almost like clay. So it's nothing a few bandages won't fix. Ochako does have a couple burns, but she can just get those healed. Oh god, okay, wow. Alright. That's gonna do it for this part, and it's gonna be a bigger upload because of how